Hello my peeps and welcome back to the channel. I'm sorry I missed you last week. I was moderately injured. I couldn't walk for a couple days because I was simply out for a jog and so spectacularly rolled my ankle. Here's your bruised, swollen cankle trigger warning if you need that, but yeah. I have never snapped my ankle so ferociously. 1 second I was running and then I was just on the ground. But we're back today and better than ever to tackle the real important topic at hand, bananas. Personally, I love them. There have been almost year-long spans where I've eaten one for breakfast almost every single day. I love anything banana flavored, whether that's candy, desserts, banana flavored. I don't know if I can keep that in, but you get the picture. I just love them. Which is why I am very excited to try nearly everything on the slate today, starting with these banana chips and then moving over to the banana peel bacon, testing out these absolutely adorable mini banana pancakes, and then these awesome looking banana bread cinnamon rolls. I suppose now's the time to get a few weeks worth of potassium in one sitting, so let's get right into this one. I think it makes sense to start with the simplest snack of the day, these banana chips from Kate over on TikTok, and I grabbed some bananas, some cinnamon, and sugar. First of all, let me just say I am very happy to be back here with you all. I was gonna try to power through, but I thought forcing myself to walk around on it would probably make it worse and last longer, so I spent a few days off of it, iced up, and I think we're good to go. It's also very nice to kind of get back in the groove of things with a very simple recipe. This starts with a few bananas sliced thin, generously coated in our cinnamon sugar mixture. It's about 3 parts sugar to 1 part cinnamon, and then loaded up on the racks of your dehydrator set on the fruit setting. And you can leave them for anywhere between 12 and 16 hours, depending on how dry or chewy you'd like yours. She did mention that these might be possible in an oven as well, at the lowest possible temperature, but in my experience, that doesn't always work. It's next to impossible to regulate what temperature you're running at when you have the door cracked open. Plus, what are you gonna do? Run your oven for like 6 hours with the door open? It's kind of dangerous. If anybody takes a crack at it, I would love to see the results. Let me know over on Instagram or down in the comments. But about 14 hours later, these were looking pretty good. Nice and dry and snackable. I just tossed them in an airtight jar, and I guess now's the time to begin our banana feast. If this looks like there's less than I had in the last shot, you'd be correct. A certain somebody has been picking on them every time he walks by. These smell awesome though. They smell like a banana cinnamon candy. These are great. I would eat these for a snack at any time of any day. Are they the healthiest things in the world? No, because of all that sugar, but they gotta be better for you than most other snacks with even more sugar. I do have to come clean about something. I made these a week ago. I started these right before I hurt myself, and they've been sitting in this jar for nearly a week now. Let's see how they have held up. They're a little less dry and snappy than they once were, but I think they're still pretty good. They still have a little bit of crunchiness around the outside, and honestly I don't mind a tiny little bit of chew in the middle. It kind of adds an extra little layer of something. Highly recommend either way if you're looking for a healthier snack or just a fun project, but let's keep it moving. And now, entering the arena of the recipes I'm slightly less excited for. It is this vegan bacon made with banana peels, and I grabbed some soy sauce and garlic powder, paprika, maple syrup, a few ripened banana peels, and salt and pepper. I would say that this one is very comparable to the last recipe in terms of active work time. You basically just have to scrape out the innards of the banana peels, of course slice them down to bacon-sized pieces if they're a little bit too big. Mix them with all your seasonings, sauces, let them marinate, and then cook them off. I've seen variations of vegan bacon like this many times throughout the years, and I just haven't gotten around to making them. Shoutouts to the homie Sauce Stash, who specializes in vegetarian and vegan versions of foods like this. I'm also questioning the fact that these only get 10 minutes to sit in this marinade, and you're not even blotting them off. They're going in the pan soaking wet, so we know they're probably not gonna get very crispy. But I gotta be honest, I'm very skeptical of this. Banana peels just don't seem like they're made to be eaten. They are very bitter, very fibrous. From what I've seen, this is probably just a bare bones, more approachable vegan bacon for the masses. I know for a fact there's a lot of other more effective methods and ingredients out there, but maybe this one will be passable for the average beginner, and that's what I'm here for. Kind of puzzled by these. I won't lie to you guys. They do smell very good though. Ugh. They do smell very good. Yeah, these are not pleasant tasting. They're just so goddamn bitter. I'm assuming that's just because of the nature of a banana peel. Maybe I should have added more of the maple syrup. Maybe I should have cooked them a little bit more longer so they were a little bit more crispy. But then you run the risk of all those spices burning and making this even more bitter. So, very bizarre, this one is. I was thinking maybe you could use it in a sandwich and kind of mask it more like she did in the video. I don't know if that would help. It's just so unpleasant. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe there's just better vegan bacon options out there. If they are, send them my way, I guess. But pass on these. Next up today is the one that started all this off. It's by far the most viral of the bunch. It's the one that's been on my list forever. Clocking in at nearly 60 million views. It's these mini banana pancakes. I grabbed some sugar and buttermilk, salt and flour, mini chocolate chips and baking soda, baking powder, vanilla extract, and some bananas, some butter, some fresh blueberries, and a couple eggs. By the way, if you haven't noticed by now, I wanted to bring attention to the correct way to peel bananas from the bottom to the top. I'm not sure when I started doing this or why, but I've been doing it for so long that I forget. It's weird. So when people see me doing it, they always ask questions. It's just more efficient. I feel like it's quicker. It doesn't bruise any of the banana. It takes a lot more of those stringy bits with it on the first peeling pass, so give it a try if you haven't. Also, let me just take a moment to shout out the original creator of this video, because between her original one and the re-uploads of this, I'm pretty sure it's cleared 100 million views in total, which is mind-numbing. That is an insane amount of views on any platform. I don't really care, so respect. And this is such a genius idea because it's combining pancakes and cereal with banana being the bridge in between. People add bananas to both pancakes and cereal already, so this is kind of a genius concoction. And really, the only note here is that, of course, you don't have to make your own pancake mix. I was kind of just in the mood for a nice buttermilky pancake. Use any kind of box that you like for a nice shortcut. I'm sure they'll come out great. And yeah, just try to get a nice golden brown on each side. Use plenty of butter to get those edges nice and crispy. And plate it up with whatever kind of other fruit, maybe chocolate chips, your favorite syrup, and you're pretty much there. I am very excited about these, so let's give them a taste. Wow, these are good. They're probably even better than I expected, because I knew they were gonna taste good. It's a pancake and fruit and chocolate. But it's the texture that's actually won me over and surprised me the most, because the contrast between the edges, they're nice and crisp and buttery, and that real smooth, hold on. The bananas in the middle have essentially melted and almost liquefied. They're super smooth. They're a perfect contrast to that crisp outside. They were still super warm when I was plating them too, so a lot of the chocolate has melted, which I love. You have to love banana for sure. I'm not gonna shy away from that, but I think every single diner across the US needs to start selling these. Next up today is the main event, and I'm not sure I've seen something more pretty or more aesthetic than these banana bread cinnamon rolls from Brit on TikTok. And in order to make them, you will need some flour and milk, sugar and cinnamon, heavy cream, salt, powdered sugar and dark brown sugar, a couple of ripe bananas and vanilla, nutmeg, active dry yeast, and some butter. Just quickly, I do want to address the fact that the creator of this recipe, Brit, delves primarily in vegan, vegetarian desserts. I love the fact that for pretty much all of her recipes, she gives both vegan and non-vegan options. As always, the links to her stuff will be down in the description. But the main thing that I loved when I discovered this recipe, and what made me so excited for it, was the fact that we are making a banana bread adjacent recipe that is actually a bread. As much as I love this stuff, I've always complained and been confused over the years as to why we call banana bread bread when it's really just a cake in a loaf pan. Typically, it's not a dough that you can knead. It doesn't have any gluten. It doesn't rise really at all out of the oven, so I still don't understand why we call it that. But this creation is finally making it worthy of its name. You first activate the yeast in some warm milk and sugar, just to make sure it's alive, get those little guys working, and then combine that mixture with all your dry ingredients, both of your sugars. I love the spice mix that's going in here. It's borderline a pumpkin spice. And although her recipe does mention to just lightly knead this for a couple minutes, I was scared to have this being a little bit too dense. I wanted some good gluten structure, so I went until it passed the window pane test. I let it rise in its bulk form for a little over an hour until it doubled in size, and then I whipped it out and punched it down, rolled it out to a nice big even rectangle, absolutely loaded it with the fillings, that being the mashed up banana, the cinnamon sugar, and butter, and then just finished these up like a normal cinnamon roll. You have to roll up the log, chop them with either a knife. I used a little bit of thread. I let them rise one more time and then bake them off in the oven. Whenever I do videos like this now, where I focus on one specific ingredient for all of the recipes, it has to be at the forefront. Like, it has to be the main character in all these creations. And this one passed the test for sure. There's some mashed up banana in the actual dough itself, which I thought was interesting. There's a bunch more of it in the filling, even though it did ooze out quite a bit, and I had to kind of spoon it back over the top as to not waste any of that good stuff. And unfortunately, we do have to skip out on her frosting, only because she uses peanut butter, not at all because she also uses cream cheese, but I just whipped up a very simple and straightforward cinnamon roll icing, that being some powdered sugar, heavy cream, a splash of vanilla, and a pinch of salt. To be fully honest, I was feeling quite a bit of anxiety throughout this process. I thought they were gonna just outright fall apart when I first cut them. The way they were all popping over each other in the oven and kind of fighting for rising space was making me nervous too. I thought this was just gonna straight up overflow. I could have used a slightly larger pan, for sure, but all in all, these things ended up looking great. They looked even better with all that frosting smoothed over the top. I could barely wait for this to cool down very much. I need to taste this thing right now. If this thing tastes even 10% as good as it smells, I don't know what I'll do. This thing smells phenomenal. Most of you guys probably know I'm not the world's biggest dessert guy. I'd almost always reach for something savory. This has something to say about that. This right here is a perfect food item. First of all, it is super banana forward, which is what I was looking for. When you get the little pockets of the filling, it is to die for. The frosting is great. It's definitely a few steps above your average cinnamon roll frosting with the extra vanilla, cream, the salt. And you'd expect this to be super dense and like heavy, but it actually eats pretty light, and I'm assuming it's because of all that gluten formation. You know, I'm not gonna leave the best part, which is always the middle. Look at all that filling. Oh my god, look at the bread. I've had a lot of struggles with yeasted dough desserts, specifically, whether they're donuts, something like this, and throughout all the frustration and the nerves from trying to form and cut these things to the way they were looking half-baked, very much worth it. So please, if you got some extra time, please try these things out. Unreal.
With the M without the AD. Flipping burgers and my money super lazy. Try and make a meal tonight, they ain't paying me. Try and supersize my life with my 18. Yeah, our style wasn't wavy, but we had a vision.